Hello everyone. My name is Ashwini Singh and today I'll be talking about biochemistry. This series will contain lectures on biochemistry, its fundamentals and its principles. In this video, I'll be talking about the foundation aspect of biochemistry. So let's begin by understanding the foundations of biochemistry. About 14 billion years ago, the universe was created after a cataclysmic explosion of hot energy rich subatomic particles. With this, simplest elements like hydrogen and helium were formed. With expansion, cooling, and accumulation of dust particles, planets like Earth was formed along with more chemical elements. And about 4 billion years ago, life arose in the form of simple microorganisms. These had the ability to extract energy from chemical compounds and later from sunlight. They used it to make a vast array of more complex biomolecules from the simple elements and compounds on the Earth's surface. So, biochemistry reminds about the remarkable properties of living organisms that initially arose from thousands of different molecules. So, the study of biochemistry shows how collections of molecules that constitute living organisms interact to maintain life, which is governed solely by physical and chemical laws. Yet, organisms possess extraordinary attributes and properties that distinguish them from other collections of matter. So, what are these distinguishing features of living organisms? So, let's look at them one after the other. So the first feature is the high degree of chemical complexity and microscopic organization. So the internal structure of a cell is intricately designed by thousands of different molecules, which include very long polymers, each with its characteristic sequence of subunits, its unique three-dimensional structure, and its highly specific selection of binding partners in the cell. This creates a high degree of chemical complexity and also microscopic organization. The next feature is the ability of a system to extract, transform, and use energy from the environment. So, this enables organisms to build and maintain their intricate structures and to do the mechanical, chemical, and osmotic and the electric work. This counteracts the tendency of all matter to decay toward a more disordered state and to come to equilibrium with its surroundings. So, our next feature is defined functions for organisms' components and its regulated interactions. So, every organism has its defined functions, but be it macroscopic structures like leaves or stems or any other organ system like heart or lungs. So, the interplay among the chemical components of a living organism is dynamic, which means it changes in one component because of coordinating or compensating changes in some other. So, this collection of molecules carry out a program, the end result of which is the reproduction of the program or the self perpetuation. So, our next feature is the mechanism of an organism to sense and respond to the alterations in its surroundings. So, organisms constantly adjust to these changes by adapting to their internal chemistry or their location in the environment. So, the next feature of a living organism is its capacity for precise self replication and self assembly. So, a single bacterial cell, if you place it in a sterile neutral medium, it can give rise to billion identical daughter cells in about 24 hours. Each cell contains thousands of different molecules, and some are even very complex. Yet each bacterium is a faithful copy of its original. Its construction directed entirely by information contained in the genetic material of the original cell. On a larger scale, the progeny of a vertebrate animal also share a striking resemblance to their parents, which is also a result of the inheritance of parental genes. So, the last feature of a living organism is its capacity to change over time by gradual evolution. So, organisms change their inherited life strategies in very small steps to survive in the new circumstances. The result of eons of evolution is an enormous diversity of life forms, superficially very different but fundamentally related through their shared ancestry. This fundamental unity of living organisms is reflected at the molecular level in the similarity of gene sequences and protein structures. So, despite these common properties and the fundamental unity of life they reveal, it is very difficult to make generalizations about living organisms. So, let's understand the background to biochemistry with a brief overview. So, biochemistry describes in molecular terms the structures, the mechanisms, and the chemical processes shared by all organisms and provides organizing principles that underlie life in all its diverse forms. So that's all for this video. In the next one, I would be giving an overview of the cellular, the chemical, the physical, and genetic backgrounds to biochemistry, and also the overarching principle of evolution. We'll be learning more about how life emerged and evolved into the diversity of organisms we see today. Thank you and stay tuned for the next lecture. If you like my content, please subscribe to this channel and get notified of the new videos.